everyone! It feels like a long time since I've seen you.
I'm not dreaming this time. Right?
Since the last review I did, the Kingdom Hearts one, was so long, I actually had to record it quite a while ago. I have also recorded for another video since then. However, I won't lie, I've been feeling a little bit burned out lately, and there's been a lot of real life stuff getting in the way. So I thought today I'd do something a bit different. This video is basically completely unscripted, aside from a few notes I have, and it's kind of a bit of a follow-up to my movie clips video I did quite a while ago. I thought it would be a good idea to take a look at some Disney movie trailers and see if we can spot some differences in there compared to the finished movies. Some of these are just changes that were made deliberately to give the trailers more of an impact. Some of these also take footage from earlier recordings of the movies. I won't be scrutinizing every single tiny detail, but I just thought it would be a fun thing to take a look at. Before we get going, I just want to point out that I will not be discussing teaser trailers. For anyone who's not clear on what that is, a teaser trailer is basically a mock-up that's merely there to provide a taster of the movie. It does not usually contain clips of the movie itself. What I want to focus on is actual trailers that are supposed to feature clips of the movie. First of all, I want to take a look at a few Pixar movies. The first one being A Bug's Life.
Alright.
Okay, so first of all, I'm going to play a clip from the UK VHS trailer.
Circus bugs! Hey! I thought you were warriors!
That line spoken by Flick is not actually in the movie.
I thought you were warriors!
I think it's obvious where the scene would have been. It's clearly just after Flick realizes that the warrior bugs are in fact circus bugs and he's pleading them to stay.
How can you be circus bugs?
I find it interesting that this clip is used though, as this is actually the trailer for the UK VHS release, which would have been several months after the initial theatrical run. My thinking is that they probably used clips from the original theatrical trailer rather than making a whole new trailer for the video. There's also this scene of Princess Atta that doesn't feature in the movie.
I think I'm going to bed myself.
Okay.
Of miniature proportions.
Looking at it, it seems as though this would have taken place during or after Atta's conversation with Flick, just after the bird attack.
When you first brought them here, I thought you'd hired a bunch of clowns.
You did?
My theory is that this was Atta's reaction to Flick kissing her.
Thank you.
This is merely speculation, but my thinking is maybe Flick kissed her and then she just went, okay, as if he's an absolute weirdo. If this is the case, I think the change they made to the finished movie was for the better, as I feel that it gives off the wrong tone. I could be completely wrong though. It may have been a completely deleted piece of dialogue that we don't know about. But that's my theory anyway. Now we're going to jump forward in time quite a bit, as I want to talk about the trailer to Incredibles 2. There are actually a few subtle details in this trailer that I could actually break down, but the only thing that really interested me to talk about here is Screenslaver's voice. In the actual trailer, it sounds like a very typical supervillain sinister voice.
The Screenslaver interrupts this program for an important announcement.
Whereas in the actual movie itself, it just sounds like an ordinary guy, because it is.
Screenslaver interrupts this program for an important announcement.
I actually think this was a mock-up for the trailer itself. I don't actually think this is a recording taken from an earlier version of the movie. I actually think it's done deliberately just to give it more of an impact. The final Pixar movie I want to talk about very briefly is Toy Story 3. Towards the beginning, Woody says this line.
Now come on guys, we all knew this day was coming.
But in the trailer, it looks and sounds like this.
Now come on guys, we all knew this day was coming.
Not only was the scene apparently completely reanimated, but the vocal delivery is completely different too. Speaking of re-recorded lines, I also noted that Spanish Buzz has a different voice.
Bitácora espacial.
Bitácora espacial.
The trailer also shows part of the scene where Woody is in the box that Andy would take to college, and he looks at the photo of Andy as a kid, but there's a transition effect that sees the photo change to a picture of his graduation photo. This does not happen in the movie itself, although the graduation photo does feature in the movie. I actually don't think this was going to happen in the movie at all. I don't think it was ever intended to. I think once again this was just a mock-up for the trailer. Towards the beginning of the movie, there's this scene where Woody looks out at Andy's room, and what you'll notice is that in the trailer, Woody is much further away from the camera. There are probably some other very small subtle details here, but like I say, I didn't take the time to scrutinize absolutely everything, but I did note that the poster of Finn McMissile in the background was very different at one stage, and in the trailer it looks completely different to how it does in the movie. I don't really know anything about the development of Cars 2, but my assumption was maybe the concept art for Finn McMissile changed. I have no idea. Once again, in terms of characters that are repositioned in scenes, the scene in which Spanish Buzz first comes across Jessie is much closer to the camera in the movie than she is in the trailer.
Did you fix Buzz?
And really strangely, when Ham responds to her, he and Mrs. Potato Head are still side by side, but they're the other way around.
Sort of.
The last thing I want to talk about in this movie is the scene where Spanish Buzz pushes past Woody to impress Jessie by opening the vent. And it looks once again like this was completely reanimated. Now, the first proper Disney animated movie that I want to talk about here is Tangled. Now, I did say I wasn't going to be discussing teaser trailers, and that's true, but I can't help but feel that this is sort of a combination of a teaser trailer and an actual trailer showing clips of the movie. The trailer is largely based on a scene from the movie when Flynn, or Eugene if you want to call him, first comes across Rapunzel, and she uses her hair to tie him to a chair. But the trailer really goes wild with this. It looks as though Rapunzel's hair has a life of its own. At one point in the trailer, she even throws him out of the tower while he's still tied to the chair. This also feels really jarring to me because it doesn't actually feel like it matches the tone of the movie whatsoever. I also had that same issue with the title, to be honest with you. I actually would rather the film were called Rapunzel rather than Tangled. I'm not sure where exactly, but I think there are some regions where the movie is called Rapunzel. I just think it would suit it better than Tangled because it gives off the vibe that it's going to be like an edgy slapstick comedy, like one of those 2000s DreamWorks movies like Madagascar or Over the Hedge or something. It's really not like that, but the trailer would have you thinking otherwise. The other thing I wanted to mention is that all scenes involving Maximus are completely absent from the movie, and I actually think Maximus underwent a redesign following this trailer. I could be wrong here, but I swear his eyes are actually bigger in the trailer than they are in the movie. I can't quite put my finger on it, he looks kind of disproportionate. The last scene I want to quickly take a look at is this scene where Flynn and Maximus are falling down a cliffside on a tree branch. In the trailer, once again, this looks very different. It was completely reanimated. And to be honest with you, I'm glad they reanimated it because Maximus, quite frankly, looks absolutely terrifying here. I am so glad that's not in the final movie. Another interesting one I want to talk about is Meet the Robinsons. For one thing, there's a line during the trailer in which Wilbur actually name drops the movie.
Lewis, meet the Robinsons.
That's even stranger.
That line is not in the movie whatsoever, but more interestingly, I noted that most of his dialogue that's used in the trailer seems to be from an earlier recording, and the reason I say this is because it's clear to me that during the recording process, his voice broke. And it seems to me as though they had to re-record all the dialogue again. I don't know this for certain, but that's the impression I got. Compare this scene in a movie, for example.
Dude, I can't take you seriously in that hat.
Listen to the same line in the trailer.
Dude, I can't take you seriously in that hat.
To corroborate this, there is actually a line in the movie in which Wilbur's voice actually regresses. It kind of unbreaks.
You gotta admit, this will be a great story to tell me someday.
And it's always been really jarring to me because I always thought, did they not have time to re-record this? Did they just forget about it? Another trailer I want to talk about is the UK theatrical trailer for Mulan. This trailer makes use of the Emperor's speech towards the end of the movie, but it is actually very different. Some of the lines are the same, some of them are a little bit different, and some of them are just not in the movie at all. I'll just share a few of the lines now so you can see what I'm talking about.
I've heard a great deal about you, Mulan. I've heard a great deal about you, Fa Mulan. You took your father's armor. You stole your father's armor. Ran away from home. Ran away from home. Impersonated a soldier. Impersonated a soldier. Endangered the lives of thousands of men. Deceived your commanding officer. Dishonored the Chinese army. And destroyed my palace. Destroyed my palace. But soon the world will know the great things you have done. So the world will know what you have done for China.
I also note as well that this trailer uses music that does feature in the movie, but to me it sounds like a temp demo version of the song. I've always been intrigued by the trailer for Hercules. There's a scene in the movie when Philoctetes is referring to Meg and refers to her as a pair of big goo-goo eyes.
Don't let your guard down because of a pair of big goo-goo eyes!
In the trailer, he actually says a pair of big blue eyes.
Don't let your guard down because of a pair of big blue eyes!
I think I read somewhere that they changed the line because they changed the color of Meg's eyes. I think her eyes are purple in the movie. I would have to check that though. I'm sorry, I didn't think to do that before saying this. But either way, I wouldn't really have classed this as a mistake, purely because of the phrase blue-eyed girl or blue-eyed boy. You know, it's just someone you admire. I never really thought of it as being the literal color of her eyes. I do think goo-goo eyes sounds better, which is probably why they changed it. But I can't help but look at the lip sync because he clearly says blue eyes when he says it.
Don't let your guard down because of a pair of big goo-goo eyes!
There's another very brief blink and you'll miss it scene in this trailer that does not actually feature in the movie, and it's a shot of one of the muses during the Zero to Hero sequence. I've talked about this before in my my movie clips video. This actually does feature in an FMV that's in the PS1 video game. So you can actually see where this was supposed to be. It was actually cut from the movie in the end, and I find that really strange that they decided to feature it in the trailers for the VHS tape. Once again though, maybe they just used clips from the original theatrical trailer. Another case of dialogue being re-recorded for a trailer would be in the Lilo and Stitch trailer. The piglet-like alien, when they're trying to identify where Stitch has got to, she actually points out in the movie he's landed on some planet called Earth.
A planet called Earth.
In the trailer, she simply says Earth.
A planet called Earth.
I actually think this may have been a mock-up for the trailer just to make it simple and easy to understand. I should also point out that there is also an alternate trailer in which she specifies that Stitch has landed in Hawaii.
A place called Hawaii.
Now the last one I want to talk about is Disney's Tarzan. There are a couple scenes in the original theatrical trailer that are not in the finished movie. During the scene when Tarzan introduces his new human friends to the gorilla nests, he encounters Kerchak and grapples with him to save them. During this scene, Kerchak flings Tarzan away, and in the movie, Tarzan simply falls to the ground. If you actually look at the trailer though, he was originally supposed to crash into a tree trunk. I think perhaps they cut this because they deemed it a little bit too violent, I'm not certain. Either way, when you know this and see the movie, you can clearly see that by the way Tarzan falls, he was actually supposed to hit something first. I do actually think this was a case of censorship, and while we're on that subject, this was not in a trailer or anything, but I've mentioned this before in a short I did a very long time ago, but since we're talking about this, it's actually still relevant. The scene towards the end of the movie when Tarzan and Clayton are having a face-off, there's a scene where Clayton pulls out a knife and takes a swipe at Tarzan. If you look at the PS1 movie clip, he actually slices off some of Tarzan's hair, and this was actually censored in the finished movie. There is also another censored scene in the movie. During the fight with Sabor the leopard, Sabor claws at Tarzan's chest. But after his victory, the claw marks are nowhere to be seen. There is a brief glimpse of this scene in the trailer though, and you can see that the claw marks are still intact. It does make me wonder though how long these claw marks were expected to last on his chest before they just disappeared miraculously. I'm not sure if this would count as censorship or if it was just a continuity thing. The last scene that I want to talk about in the trailer is actually very interesting to me because it's the opposite of these. While the movie was censored in parts to remove these violent scenes, the opening scenes in which Carla enters the treehouse and finds Tarzan's deceased parents having been attacked by Sabor is different in the trailer. In the finished movie, you can actually see their lifeless bodies lying there, whereas in the trailer, they are nowhere to be seen. You can just see bloody paw prints. And that's really all I have to talk about today. This wasn't going to be a massive video, I just wanted to talk about some stuff and remind you that I'm still alive. Hope you've enjoyed, guys. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye for now. Hey everyone, just so you know, videos this year may be more sporadic than they have been the past couple of years. I love making these, and honestly working on game reviews full time would be the absolute dream. But real life has to happen, unfortunately. By the way, one more thing about the trailers, it actually looks as though pretty much the entire Toy Story 3 trailer contains almost totally different animation to the movie. I was aware that CG trailers don't always contain finished lighting, but there are several scenes here that are completely different. Like Buzz is holding Jess's other hand, for example. And when Woody climbs up here, the trailer shows a different angle. It's very strange. I'm also aware that there are several more scenes in the Meet the Robinsons trailer that are slightly different, or don't even appear in the movie at all. After making this video, I was also reminded of another Meet the Robinsons trailer with some other notable differences.
I invented it! Me!
It seems CG movies contain a lot more last-minute changes that are very noticeable in trailers, and I would definitely have enough material for a proper in-depth video of some of these, if it's of any interest of course. Anyway, as always, thank you to my patrons: Dragon Dog, Alex C, Heather McKnight, Upside Clown, Anthony Gallagher, 3Spooky5Me, Volico72, and Matthew Shaw. Thanks also to my free patrons: Gabe Owners, Yusuf Samuel, Alex, Samantha Thorngate, Mike Santana, Dinosaur Bites, Jennifer Erzan, Jeremy Miller, Yukanai Yuko, Alma Elmer, Kira Flameheart, D Snuts, Hannah Kingdon, Domino Shields, GamerKid96, and Mood Faik. And an extra special thanks to my channel members: Jeremy Miller, Jenny Fox, Reunion, and 3Spooky5Me. Thanks for your support, guys. Hopefully it won't be too long before I see you again. Bye bye for now.